what's up, everybody? My name's Tori, and I'm going to be doing this week's presentation on race and racism. I chose the article Antagonized for Being Hispanic Growing Claims of Racial Profiling in LA Raids by Adrian Florido on the NPR website. Um, this article talks about the unprecedented sweeps immigration agents are enacting and how many, especially those who are Hispanic or Latino, are being targeted specifically due to their skin color. Widespread racial profiling appears to be the leading force behind the uptick in arrests driven by the Trump administration's deportation crackdown. The main argument of the article is that instead of specifically targeting criminals, authorities appear to be racially profiling entire groups, prioritizing quantity of arrests over quality. To validate the article's claims, it mentions a situation where Border Patrol agents raided a Latino family's junkyard business and arrested several individuals. Although they were citizens, agents also arrested individuals who were day laborers outside of a Home Depot and food vendor employees. Those who were arrested were neither asked for documentation nor were warrants presented for their arrests. Any major issues I find in this? I can't find any major issues with the statements because these are people's experiences. For many, this is their reality. When authorities are taking everyday people off the streets, it confirms the feeling of being targeted by the way that they look, especially when there's no verifiable criminal record. However, my one issue is up here. Let's see. It is by the Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs for the Department of Homeland Security, denying these claims of racial profiling, stating DHS enforcement operations are highly targeted and officers do their due diligence. We know who we are targeting ahead of time. I don't believe her comment to be true, primarily because of another article I read. Why is ICE so aggressive now? A former ICE chief explains. The interviewee stated that while he was with the agency, they were tasked with finding the most violent criminals and would not target regular people. He also goes on to say that the current administration has made it clear quantity is better than quality, explaining the mass number of immigration raids and large deportation numbers. Based on what this retired agent said, prior research and record checking were an essential form before an arrest. This contradicts the arrests of many people in the Florido article who has no criminal record or were Latino U.S. citizens. And how does this relate to what we've learned this week? I would say it relates to many sides of our lectures this week. Firstly, it supports the concept that race is not a biological fact. Criminals or immigrants are not inherently people of color. It seems that the administration who directs these agents have placed Hispanic and Latino, or just people of color, into a category that criminalizes them. This is an example of non-scientific social classification, a folk taxonomy, arbitrarily chosen by the U.S. power structure. I find it interesting, however, that in modern day profiling, unlike the rigid ancestry based classification discussed in the mixed blood article, we are focusing heavily on the appearance and location. The main issue within the article is the racial profiling of Hispanic and Latino individuals. There is a power dynamic at play within the immigration narrative, similar to the one created in colonial Virginia, as discussed in the Made in America podcast. That narrative created a racial hierarchy to divide the poor and benefit the elite. The fact that agents are targeting known Hispanic towns, places of known inhabitants, and places of work is similar to the restrictive covenants that were once in place. However, this is a mobile version, where the boundaries are specific to skin color, language, and accents. Overall, the biggest comparison is the demonization of one racial group based on a social myth, which drives a policy that enforces institutionalized oppression and maintains the existing power structure. The best way this article could be potentially improved for greater sociological ideas is probably by including historical background on the long history behind race categorization, why America created the categories in the first place, and what the economic outcome of that history has been for the general population. I also believe including current data on the area's immigration population, how immigrants benefit the economy and enrich the culture overall. I would think that would strengthen the argument. And then to conclude, my question for everybody would be the article claims that federal agents are treating Hispanic appearing individuals as a reason for suspicion and detention. If race is a social construct, a myth, and whiteness historically has created an unchallenged form of legal citizenship and unearned privilege, how do these acts of profiling create an ideology of who looks American? And what is the systemic outcome for profiled communities?